Hello, this is Dale Matthews. I'm joined by Mike Jones, and it's the adventure of a lifetime.
Yes. I'm puzzled. Every night I get in here and I see Dale's pictures and I don't know what's going on. But Jumanji, an obscure movie from the late 80s, early 90s there.
I think the
Uh,
90s with Robin Williams in it and involved a board game that turned real. Well, since I've started looking at the county charter and county government, there's a logo that we have in the county that looks like this thing. Sometimes it's in the shape of a sort of a triangle, and sometimes it's a circle. And I've been looking at this thing and go, what's that in the middle? I mean, there's one prominent design feature. It's this thing in the middle. And at first I thought it was words. And then I looked a little more carefully and I thought, no, wait a minute. It's some kind of design element, not a very good one, because it's the darkest thing on there. And it's actually sort of the top of a shield with stripes or something. So I thought I'd look just a little bit closer. And this is a slightly closer view. And I thought, no, wait, it
mm,
still looks like it's saying something. And when I got even closer,
yes.
take a look at this. What is it saying? Oh, now I get it. Let's go
Okay.
back. All right.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah, you know what's yes, I see it now. I see it. I did not see it before, but now I do. Yes,
It's a
that's
board
very
game.
entertaining.
We're dealing with the Board
Yeah.
of Commissioners. It's a board game, you
Oh,
see? Yes.
yes, of course.
Not a
Yes, of
boring
course.
game.
Well,
Stop that.
you know what is really kind of a bummer is that you would think that our charter would, that the document that they put out would at least be, you could at least make out what the seal was on it.
Yeah.
But they didn't even do a good enough copy of it so that we could see what's on the seal. It's obviously the seal, but then it has all these annotation dates, stamped over the
And
top
you can't
as
read them.
though it meant cancel,
Right. And you can't read the
reject.
words, and it's printed over the top of the thing. It's part of transparency in government, you see.
Ah,
Right,
yes.
right. And
Okay.
it's convoluted, goes around and around in circles, and you get sucked into a vortex where you stay there for years. We're going to try to give you an
Uh,
abbreviated version of that vortex this evening when we're talking about the county charter. This may be the last time we talk about it. We'll see. So, one of the
yeah, it
things
depends if there's more
it
exciting stuff
depends on
about it.
if there's more. That's right. One of the things the charter is supposed to do is county government says, "Oh, it's a really good thing because it protects us from the state telling us what to do." That's a plus and a minus,
Hmm.
mostly a plus, depending on whether it was supposed to protect the citizens from the government, kind of like the Constitution is supposed to do. It's supposed to
Hmm.
the ability of government to step on you. And the charter, our county
Hmm.
charter, we're one of a few home rule charter counties. They're supposed to live by something which protects us from the state, protects us from the little state guys, that's the county commissioners,
Hmm.
and it protects the citizens. And so the citizens get up every once in a while, they go, yeah, we're really have had enough, that pendulum swings back and forth. We've had enough, and we're going to take control over our fees. And when you think about it, wouldn't it be nice to be able to say, no, I don't want any increased fees on something or other. I want a chance to vote on that. So the last thing the commissioners want you to have is a chance to vote on fees. You had it before I moved here and before Mike moved here. It's your fault. And then you lost it because
Yes.
nobody was paying attention to the fact that the county, through Steve Rich, our former 20-year legal counsel, did a really sneaky thing of taking that ability away from you, where they actually went to court, where, dang it, it looks like, and we talked to Wally Hicks, the current counselor, about this, it looks like they went to court against themselves and they won either way. Really? Yeah, really.
Hmm.
So we thought we'd take a look at what the intention was. And there is a solution. What's the solution? You're the two highly paid guys. Yeah, that's us. The solution is in the next election, if we get two fiscally conservative, people who believe that you're the boss. They could say, well, yes, there's been a couple of court cases that take away all of your rights that you work so hard for, but now, according to the court, you don't have to do it, but you could do it. You could. If the new commissioners that are in there say, you know what? I know it says that we don't have to, but we're going to. Oh, no, no, we don't have to. We hear you, but we're going to anyway. You're going to do something you don't have to do? Yes. Well, what kind of government is that?
I doubt anybody would be asking those questions. I mean, people not asking questions of their government is why we're here right now. It's why, you know, we really ought to have the Eternal Vigilance Committee.
Yes.
You know, and these people, the only thing they do is watch for usurpations and you know, sound the alarm and, you know, run through the town on a horse and say the you
what?
know,
Not the British are coming, because they wouldn't have said that. Okay, all right, all right. So we're going to embark on our game of Jumanji here without getting sucked in. Okay. Oh my gosh, I lost it again. Oh my gosh. I keep losing this thing. Doggone it. Okay, so
Dale has lost it again.
Yeah, and everybody knows that, so that's not news. Okay, so if you go to page 22 of the charter, in your hymnal, and it's nearer,
Yes.
my God, to thee. Okay, today is Sunday. It's okay if I say that. I'm sure. See, God made me, so I know that He has a sense of humor. Okay, so why don't you start us off on reading on that page 22 there, Mike, with section 29.3, I think.
Yes, prohibits advocacy of the forfeiture of constitutional rights. The intent of this charter amendment is to prohibit the advocacy of the forfeiture of any right guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution, and shall further prohibit public officials elected or appointed from advocating the forfeiture of any rights guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution, or to fail to uphold the rights guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution. For example, the Second Amendment of the United States, or the U.S. Constitution, the right to bear arms, may not be used to advocate the forfeiture of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, guarantee of free speech. May not be used to advocate the forfeiture of rights guaranteed by the Second Amendment. By way of further example, elected or appointed officials may not advocate the need, the ban, the...
I think they meant to ban, the need to ban.
Yes.
Or
the need
ban.
to ban, or the ban of the right to bear arms in contravention of the rights guaranteed by the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty heavy duty when you think about it, really. You know, I mean that's. In other words, you need to steer wide and clear of anything which may even be construed as you stepping out of line on any one of these rights guaranteed to us.
It even says something about eroding the rights. You're not even allowed to erode the rights. Look, it's certainly possible that someone around now could say, oh, well, I'm really not sure what they meant. Of course you're sure what they meant. They wrote this in such precise language, okay? You can't even step forward, government, and try to erode our rights. Well, that's a broad interpretation. You know what they meant. Don't tell us you don't know what they meant. Well, the road has many definitions. No. It's a strong advocacy.
Yes, but
don't even try to take our rights away from us.
Right, and then they're also saying, hey, we can't use the Second Amendment to take away somebody's First Amendment rights. In other words, you are not to take guns and point them at people and say you can't say that. Listen, it's pretty clear. It would be very, very difficult, I think, for somebody to misconstrue that, but they might intentionally misconstrue it. I mean, that's certainly possible.
Well, I think that's part of what's happening now, and that's what happened in the courtroom, where you lost the ability to control fees because the county government decided to take that away from you. And what they did was they put something on the ballot saying, "Oh, this is necessary. This is going to smooth everything out." Well, smooth everything out. I'm in favor of smoothing things out. And what it did is it didn't smooth it out; it wiped it out. Isn't that sweet?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
it goes on definitions.
go ahead, please.
Oh, I thought you were going to read that because I read the
Well, I
last
can
part.
go
But
on.
okay, definitions.
Wait, I can do this. Nothing in this initiative shall be construed to prevent anyone from using the First Amendment right of free speech from proposing, discussing, and or debating changes in the U.S. Constitution or from suggesting any changes. However, while the U.S. Constitution stands as the supreme law of the land, elected or appointed public officials shall be bound by the chains, they wrote this, of the U.S. Constitution
Yes.
to uphold and preserve the rights of all citizens, protecting them from the irresponsible misuse, this is in our charter, of free speech. That is to say, elected or appointed public officials shall be prohibited from advocating and conspiring to deprive law abiding citizens from their U.S. constitutional protections and guarantees. Wow.
Yeah, boy, that's um
Let's
there's a
let's
little
just
bit in there that almost seems to be a conflict with the First Amendment if that they are barred from saying certain things.
Well, what they said in here is
Yeah.
don't think that we're saying that there's no First Amendment, but you may not use
Hmm.
one amendment to erode another amendment. So just because you can
Right.
speak doesn't mean that we're going to allow you to speak about taking our rights away. Hmm.
Yeah, irresponsible misuse of free speech.
Hey. Okay, well, every once in a while, Mike and I are accused of such a thing. Irresponsible
Yes.
or free speech. It's irresponsible according to the government. What I think what was trying to happen here is the citizens were trying to say, and they had to pass this. Not only was it submitted, but people had to pass it too. They had to take it to a vote. It's a
They
change.
had to vote on this.
They did, and what they're saying here, what they're
Yeah.
trying to say is, don't be using. See, we give you a microphone. As Ronald Reagan said, I paid for this microphone. Well, not exactly, but okay, it was a good quote.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's a
Peggy
good
Noonan.
opportunity for that.
Yes, it was a good opportunity. And what the people at the time, in my opinion, wanted is don't be using our taxpayer supplied microphone and these lofty positions literally above the audience to speak from behind the dais, from up on high, to advocate for taking away rights that we consider to be self evident.
Hmm.
Let's go on to search and seizure,
Yeah.
shall we? Okay.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, the thing that I like about this is that, they were trying to say, hey, listen, guys, let me spell it out to you in 15 different ways here, you
That's
know?
right.
Uh, yeah, anyway.
Well, that one was one
Okay.
all by itself. We've got others about the Second Amendment and other things and fees and etc. But they felt at the time it was important enough to say, do not use what this right that's been given to the citizens. The government may not use that to try to wipe out another right. They
Hmm.
did in court.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mike. Search and seizure.
Well, that's not where mine is.
Oh,
Mine starts.
29.4 says search and
Oh,
seizure.
29.4.
Right. The intent
Okay,
of this
that's a
charter
whole
amendment is to provide the
different
citizens
section
of
here.
Josephine County with local protection of one of their inalienable rights as originally defined by our founding fathers in the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights? You want to take section 1?
Yes, Section 1. The following provision shall be adopted into the Josephine County Home Rule Charter and shall govern all actions by individuals, organizations, both public and private, within Josephine County. In Josephine County, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. Hang on a second here. Uh, Against any unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. And that's a direct copy and paste out of the Constitution there.
Okay, so let's think about that and how it applies, and why is this in our charter? We've had some issues recently where some things looked as if they were unreasonable, searches, seizures, and etc. One of them was, whether you like them or not, the mine owners that in the Sugar Pine mine, who said that the BLM, a government agency, was coming in and routinely, on its own, deciding to burn your cabin first and then give you your day in court. It looks as if they actually were doing that for a while. And they said to the county sheriff and to the county commissioners, will you please stand up according to the charter and oppose this officially in writing and in person? Now, Wally Hicks talked to us both about that, Mike. What did Wally Hicks have to say about that?
Wally Hicks says, well, the charter doesn't give you any protection at all in that regard. It says nice things about those amendments in the Constitution, but it basically says that the local government here can choose not to do anything if they so choose. I personally interpret it a different way. I think it says, hey, I think that you're complicit in the violation of rights. If you see that the violation of rights is taking place and you don't step in, as the charter says, you should not. They're going to great lengths to tell people that it can't even be misconstrued that you are in any way advocating the forfeiture of somebody's rights. And by their silence, they were advocating.
Well, it says,
because they said, hey, that's.
It says in section 2, no elected or appointed officials, those are the commissioners, and that's Wally Hicks, of Josephine County shall ... enforce any law or statute that denies or erodes any of the provisions of this charter amendment. Now, they didn't pass anything, but they were guilty of standing by while it happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's
now,
right.
This they define as doing their job. A lot of people said, well, I define that as just sitting on your hands.
Right.
So
well,
is it unreasonable?
You know,
is it unreasonable? There is a definition of unreasonable. No public official, elected, appointed, or any agent of the government or entity. And I would think that the BLM deputy provided by Josephine County government is to enter private property for the purpose of obtaining information, data, or material without obtaining prior written consent of the property owner and tenant or court order issued upon probable cause.
Yeah.
It's deemed to be unreasonable.
You know, yeah, I'm telling you, they're on shaky ground here, but they realize that they are sort of in the driver's seat. They can say, well, you know, this is what that means, and it doesn't matter. You know, if something had happened to those guys, they didn't want to step into that boiling cauldron, and you know, so this is where we're at. The thing is that this charter is only as good. It's only good if the citizens are willing to use it to hold elected officials accountable. If not, it's an umbrella.
Okay, so let's be honest. The citizens are not willing. Okay, there are a few people. I'm one of them. Mike is one of them. That makes 2. There's about half a dozen people I can think of who would say, now, wait a minute, that's not reasonable. Most of the other people,
Mm.
honestly, you may be watching the show. You're not going to go down to the Ann Basker and rail against the system. Some of you might, but most won't. Okay, so what's truly going to happen? I mean, maybe this doesn't sound nice. Sorry about that. But what truly is going to happen is you're going to kind of vote for somebody that looks like a commissioner or looks like or is part of the old boys network, and they've always done so well for us in the past. And maybe not all of you, but that's the way a lot of people vote. And then we're going to leave it up to them to do the right thing. And we might complain every once in a while, but when you really think about it, they wouldn't be in that position unless God wanted them there or something like that. I don't understand some of that, but they're not actually going to. I mean, I've gone to meetings of, let's say, the 912 group. Nice people. I don't agree with everything they say. And I said, well, listen, you could come down. They're not coming down. And so after a couple of times of that, I said, well, you could go and you could educate yourself by clicking on a button and watching a video. Well, they're not doing that. No, wait a minute. You can't get up enough energy to click a button to be educated? Well, the videos are so long, I can't spare 3 minutes. Oh, please. Yeah. Much less an hour to watch a show. You are unique, and you're watching this show, even after you've been warned by Cheryl Walker that you better not.
Right. Yeah, you know what I mean. This is really the point, and it's we get sick of making this point over and over. This is the apathy. The reason why we're in the condition that we're in, the situation that we're in, it's just people are apathetic. They don't want to do anything about it. They don't want to say anything about it. They don't want to step in. They don't want to be a rabble rouser. They don't want people pointing at them and questioning whether or not they're right or not.
Like happens to me.
So
yes.
It's easier for you to. Yeah, so it's easier to just not do anything and never say anything, and then then you're in the safety zone, and look what it gets us.
You could go to a meeting, as people say to us all the time. Well, I really don't know much. I don't know what to say. You could. Okay, you could. You're not going to, but you could go to a meeting and say, I agree with that guy. That's all that you need to say, and then go sit down. But the commissioners know what they're doing when they jump down our throats, when they say, I don't like the way you're looking. Literally, I don't like the way you're looking at me. They know what they're doing because, see, then stops somebody that would be a little reticent about standing up in public. You're not going to stand up. Stand up. He might say, I don't like the way you're looking. Works, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, this is the really crazy thing about this, is that if you had 500 people who were really plugged in to what's going on, and come on, there's 85,000 people in the county. You can't get 500 people to be interested in what's going on in local politics. 500 people, that's not that many. We can't even get 100 people to show up at these things.
No, but there is a solution.
500 people would be, yes.
There is a solution. There truly is a solution. So I'm going to offer this to you as our audience. You do watch the show. Okay. And we get some pretty regular viewers live or watching afterwards. We've got a very good idea of what our numbers are. Sometimes they go way up on a certain subject, sometimes down. Here's the thing that you can do, and it wouldn't take you much time or effort. And I don't mean sending money. Just forget about that. No, Mike, we're not going to ask them to do that. Stop asking me to task them.
Oh.
Okay, that's not the thing. No, we're not going to do that. Here's what you can do. Very, very simple. You can say to your neighbor or to someone that you know that doesn't usually watch this show, by the way, friend, my neighbor, you got to watch the show. That's it. We're not making any money off of you. It all comes out of our pocket. Well, no, we're not sponsored by anybody. No, our money is not coming. Well, I know their money is coming from. No, you don't know, because that's not where it's coming. It's coming from the Bank of Mike and the Bank of Dale. Okay, that's all. Okay, we're not asking you for.
That's who we're sponsored by.
Yes, it's just be educated. That's the only reason. So all that you need to do, again, is say to a friend, hey, you might, maybe we can talk about this you should take a look at this. These guys are funny or funny looking, and they've got some things to say that you might want to know about. And some of this is kind of interesting. And they're going to talk on Monday. The sheriff is going to talk about, what he's going to talk about, Mike, and I do too. And sorry, I don't. No. I'm not trying to sandbag you. The sheriff on Monday is going to reiterate some of the things he has to say about keeping us safe and what happened to all those people who said it's an emergency, we need to do something about it right away. Well, now that levy didn't pass, what happened to all those people? Where'd they go? Did they move to Idaho with Jim Frick?
So I don't know.
They're nowhere to be found. But we're the people who were opposing the levy, not because we don't like the sheriff. That's not why. That's why we're not opposing him getting funding. We just didn't want it to go through the commissioners. So all that you would need to do, you can do something. You could say to a friend, you might want to watch this show. Now, if we don't keep them entertained or they don't want to watch this, okay, then we've blown our part. But you could do your part. That's all that you need to do. It is a little bit more effort than clicking on a button. You're there. Yay, yahoo. Hey, Mike, they're clicking on a button. That's a very cool thing. I'm glad you're doing it. I'm not trying to make fun of you. You are clicking on a button and you're watching the show. That's great. If we can get this is the case. If we can just get a few more people watching this show, just one from each of you. Yeah, right. Well, one from a quarter of you, 1/4 of yourself, just a phone. That's 1/4 of yourself. If we could get a couple more people watching this show, well, then we'll let you make up your own minds. It's better than reading the Courier.
Yeah. And listen, there's already a lot more people watching this show now than there was when we started exactly 200 shows ago. Today.
Oh, really? Exactly.
Yes.
We've done it every single night. Oh, that doesn't sound right. No. Never mind. I said that. What I mean is we've engaged in a show. That doesn't sound quite right either. What am I trying to say?
Yes.
We've the news.
We have presented 200 of these things to people for their perusal and
these things for your perusal. Yes, we have in a row. Yes. We've never missed one. Well, there was the night where the internet came in and messed with the show. That was funny. We got a lot of high ratings for the show. How do we get high ratings for the show, Mike?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. There's been a couple hundred have watched that show.
Yeah.
It's nonsensical. It jumps around all over the place. It's
more nonsense than usual.
A fluke of the internet.
And one of our friends said, I've watched it a couple of times or watched several parts of it, and I just can't seem to make sense out of it. That's right. It doesn't make, because it's jumping all over the place. Well, okay, so that's nice. Thank you for your loyalty. Look,
but we did do the show that night.
We did.
Yes, we did. Yeah. So that counts in the 200. It may not have made any sense. But we still, it's still up there, isn't it? You didn't take that down.
No, I didn't take it down. The only one that caused us both any heartburn was the night with Colleen Roberts. Doggone it! I wanted her to be. She was always, hey, we got to do things in the Jackson County in the right way. And we had her on the show, and she says, "Boy, things are great now. Things are great now. Yes, they're treating everyone much better." Colleen, they're treating everyone. But yeah, now that I'm here, it's kind of a Shangri-La situation. Colleen, really?
That was weird. But, and that was probably back. That was 2 weeks into the show. I think that was very, very early on.
It was kind of like nonsense. I'm sorry, Colleen. Maybe things have changed. Well, give me 6 months. Listen, what you need is county commissioners to come in, enforce the charter. Hello. That even if the judge says, I will not let you pledge to the charter, you do it anyway, right? And then you say, the people are now going to be in charge. Oh, not that. And then you say, listen, I'm going to put the people in the driver's seat. Why, that will take forever. It doesn't need to take forever. We're just going to make sure that public servants are actually, radical idea here, serving the public. That's the purpose of the charter amendments.
Yes, I think it is.
It's simple. It's simple. What I don't want is more of the same. And most of the candidates, well, by definition, are going to offer more of the same. You already know that. Okay, 29.5 is about fees. We've talked a lot about fees and what happened to the fees. 29.6 is of the charter, that section, which we should know, is missing. There's no 29.6.
No, it isn't.
It isn't missing?
No, it isn't. It's vote on private management of county properties and fees.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over that. Okay, so why don't you tell us what the purpose of vote on private management of county properties and fees means?
Well, the intent of this measure is to assure the people that their authority to regulate fees or fee increases through voter approval defined and described in this charter shall not be circumvented, directly or indirectly.
Yes, it was.
Yes,
it was circumvented.
Yes, it was. Yes, and this is the case in point. It really is. That you weren't paying attention. We were all asleep at the switch here, and they snuck one by us. So anyway, by any action taken by the board or any agent or agency of county government.
Oh yeah, that's county legal counsel.
Yeah, yes. Aren't they an agency of the government?
Absolutely.
I think they are. Boy, you know what? One could say that all of that action should be null and void on the basis of what I just read.
It's going to be null and void if you elect the right people. They're just going to say, yes, I don't care what the court ruling said. We're going to do the original intention of the people. And then you will have the right, if you wish to use it, to decide whether certain fees will be imposed. And some fees in the latest suggestions are going up over 100%. Do you like that? Well, here's your chance to do something.
You know what? Listen,
it.
I think we all understand, regardless of where we are in the political spectrum, that to some degree our freedoms have been eroded over the past, 100 or so years. And so, there's an easy way to stop that. But you have to, have a little bit more interest in it than Dancing with the Stars. Really not that much. Actually, you know what? If you had the same amount of interest in this as you had in Dancing with the Stars, it would be an entirely different situation, because you'd be engaged enough during the time to go, hey, I'm calling BS there.
Well, and look, the other thing is, honestly, now, we don't try to put out a clarion call. Everyone should come to a meeting. Yeah, you're not coming to the meeting. We know. Some of you do. Okay, that's cool. But mostly people aren't going to come to a meeting. They're especially not going to come to a meeting at 9 o'clock on a weekday, on a Wednesday morning. They're just not going to come to a meeting. They really have to care to take time off work to do that. And you may not be able to get time off work. So what you need to do, in my opinion, is the reasonable thing is, when voting time comes around, no matter who it is, first of all, please don't base a vote on, I don't like to vote for a guy with a mustache or a woman with a mustache. Not going to vote for her. Okay? All right. Please, you got to set that aside. Okay?
Listen. My Aunt Sally is a wonderful woman, I'll have you know.
Okay. All right. Enough said about that. And the other thing is, honestly, no matter who you vote for, because if you're going to leave it up to somebody else, put it in God's hands, put it in the hands of the voters, if you're going to do that, then if you vote for someone who sounds like more of the same, guess what you're going to get? More of the same. Yes. So, I don't like it when people are advocating for things that are different. Different makes me upset. It upsets my stomach. I understand that. I do. Different upsets just about everybody's stomach.
There's a lot of people like that.
Well, probably a majority of people. I don't like different. Yeah. But if you don't vote for something different, you're not going to get anything different.
Well, maybe they like it the way it is, Dale.
They're watching the
Maybe they
show?
just think that it's just fun. Maybe, oh no, not that are watching the show. I would hope that people that are watching this show are already mindful of the vote. But listen, Simon Hare, what was his strategy in this last time? Have the best looking, biggest sign. That was his strategy, basically, in total.
It worked.
And he won
Okay.
on that basis.
I remember a time when Sandy Casanelli and I had gone. Everybody was running for everything, and Simon Hare was first running. And so we went down to a meeting of Zonta, right? Zonta. It's a women's group in town, and they were pressing on to every candidate for everything that the number one issue in Josephine County, above everything else, was white slavery.
Mm.
That was their point of view.
Yes.
That's the number one burning issue. Afterwards, there were three of us who got together that were talking about county politics and what could be done if somebody different was voted in. Simon Hare was over with a group of people, not making this up. They were all women, and they were commenting for 20 minutes about his pants.
Okay, so listen, all of you who are contemplating running for commissioner, I mean, spend a little extra money and, have your clothes professionally pressed every single day.
I don't do it every day. I don't do it every day.
It matters.
Yeah, right. Well,
it matters.
I'm not sure they were talking about the cut of his pants or the press, but whatever. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they were super.
You don't have a bunch of pervert old ladies. I resent the implication.
Well, I resented the whole thing, but okay, all right, because we were talking about politics and they were talking about his pants. Look, stuffing the ballot box? No. Okay. So anyway, look, the point is that if you don't vote for something different, you're not going to get anything different. So what you need to do is look for the most different person of all. And well, or at least, right, at least be aware of what's happening. And you can help in that by talking with somebody that doesn't know beans about this and saying, by the way, did you know, go ahead and pick any of them that you like. Did you know that recently Simon Hare has said that there's an advantage to raising property taxes because that's going to force you to get your property to do more things just to pay the taxes.
Yes, and aside from the obvious that you should glean from that, you should also glean that he was saying it in front of a friendly audience. Okay, so everybody that he said that to in that room who didn't say, "What the hell are you talking about?"
I can't speak.
Those people, those people are cannon fodder. You should, boom, get them out of there.
Well, or you could also say, did you know that when the director of health came in and said, good news, the infant mortality rate is up, that Keith X says, well, and then everybody else, well, it's good that we're getting more money because of it. More money because of it.
Yes.
So
listen,
I'll
give
county
Keith
commissioners
half a point for that. No,
So-
listen, there's a time to pull the flush lever. And clearly it's at the earliest opportunity here.
Now's the time. Now, people will say, well, I voted for Simon Hare, and there's nothing we can do about that. But I voted for Simon Hare because I didn't want Mark Gatlin. I will agree with you. I didn't vote for either one of them. Okay, I feel bad about not voting for anybody in that one, but those were the two choices. Mark Gatlin was the guy that said, when I got up and I said, just so that you know, you were just now talking about the fleet inventory. And the last time that I was there with the camera, along with the county commissioner and the guy that knows about the things about the fleet, when we arrived, Rob Brandis of the Public Works Department had admitted that they had changed the plates on the vehicles. And now we were not looking at the ones that we'd gone there to investigate. And we were sent by the county commissioners to go investigate. They changed the tags. Now,
for the purpose of deception.
Well, you figure out what the purpose was, but Mark Gatlin said Mark Gatlin got up and said, that's insane. It's insanity to even suggest such a thing. And I said to Mark Gatlin, who could have easily ended up being a county commissioner, have you seen the tape? Were you with us? Do you know any of the details? Why are you telling everybody on television here in a public meeting that it's insane when you don't have a single idea of what that insanity is? You have no idea. So I think
because he's part of that audience. He's part of that friendly audience of people.
That's
you
right.
know, I mean, listen. If you're watching what's going on in county and in some cases city government, after a while you learn to know the players.
Yep.
And you know who's who, and
right.
we know who is keeping audience with who, and who is friendly amongst themselves. And this entire crew of commissioners down there now needs to go.
So here's what I said. I went to a meeting recently of people who said that they're going to run for county commissioner. Maybe we can have a sea change in what's happening in our county government by electing 2 new people. I mean, they could say to Simon here, please tell us your opinion. My opinion is blah, 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 blah. Thank you very much. Now we take a vote. Boom, boom. It's over. Okay, we are going to let people speak. We are going to hand them out maps that aren't all black. We're going to cut back on the cost of making the documents. There's so many things for real transparency. We're going to stop saying it's the most transparent government in the history of mankind. I mean, really, come on now. So I talked with some of the people there, and I said, my first question is, what do you think about yet another, immediately coming up, another levy? Would you support that? Are you going to say now to everybody in the room here that wants to run that you will say you're not going to back a levy for at least the first 4 years when you're in? And I said, I'm one of them. I will not back a levy. Other people, one guy said, well, I'll say no. Tony Webb tried to say, I'll say no. I said, Tony, you can't say no. You've already backed a levy. Well, that was misinterpreted. No, it wasn't. Okay. Anybody else? Tick, tick, tick. I said, okay, how about this? The county charter says, you will not take home any more than $30,000. You may think that that's unfair, but that's what the charter says. Now, if they insist you to take extra money, you could take all the money, you could donate it to charity and pay all the taxes, and take home $30,000. Will you live by the charter? Nobody. I said, I'll do that. Nobody. Okay? You can pick any other subject that you like. Do you believe that the people are more important than the public servants, that they're simply there in a temporary role as public servants? And will you turn it around and put the people in charge of deciding what it is that they want and live by the charter, any part of the charter? No takers. Now, if you're going to vote for all of the people that are always the same as they've always been, then you're always going to get what you got. It's candidates.
Yeah.
Next. This next one, 29.7, and we are going through the charter. And if you've got somebody that's running for office who doesn't know what the charter says, do not vote for them. You know, because you're watching the show. 29.7. Very short sentence. I love this kind of thing. What does it say, Mike?
Yes. It says, prohibition of income tax. Josephine County shall not establish an income tax. Both personal and business income taxes would be disallowed. Amended May 1990.
Okay, all right. Now,
that means we have to go look.
But wait a minute. Where's the rest of it? There isn't any rest of it. That's it. That's the
right.
whole thing. That went by so quick. Read it again, please, Mike.
Prohibition of income tax. Josephine County shall not establish an income tax. Both personal and business income taxes would be disallowed.
That's it.
That's it.
So what more do you need to know?
Listen, they're skirting around this right now by toying with the sales tax idea for, and here's the interesting thing. We just had this conversation with Bill Landis here a few days ago. And I said to him, I go, hey, listen, you guys just renewed the jail bed tax. Okay, so you should have plenty of money to take anybody that you need to take to jail to jail. Is that right? You said yes. So why do they need to pass a sales tax for public safety? And it would only be in the city, because what they're trying to do, they're saying, well, that's our way of getting that tax from the people that live out in the county. If you want to guarantee that people drive to Medford every time, and a lot of people that come out of Cave Junction to go shopping are going to, they're going over to Winco or something anyway. Maybe. Who knows? But, if you want to guarantee that they're going to leave town, listen, some people plan out their stuff way in advance, and I would assume that perhaps maybe food and things of that nature would be excluded from that. But let's say you want to buy a brand new manure spreader, and it's $1,500 or something, and you're going to get taxed on that. You're going to buy it here, or you're going to buy it over in Medford. Who knows?
And so
you might think that the gas.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
We're going to have to end. All good things must come to an end someday. We're going to have to end our discussion of the charter and the game of Jumanji, the experience of a lifetime. But something that Mike said to me just now, said to all of us about a manure spreader, reminded me of this law that's supposed to stop the smell of marijuana inside the Grants Pass city limits. So a question that I have is, if you go out and you spread manure on your plants in your front yard, most people would say, well, I don't like that smell. Is this now going to be illegal?
And it's pretty stinky for a few days.
It is. Right.
Well, apparently out in the middle of Merlin there, they're taking this, human waste, composting operation there for, I forget the name. It's like Joe Grow and stuff. And apparently it stinks to high heaven.
It does.
Yet they allow that.
It does. I went there with Sandy Casanelli during more sane times. And they said, don't worry about the smell. When you get here, you're going to see. You're going to see. We can prove this to you. You're always talking about videotape, and now we're going to prove it to you. So there's no such thing as smell-o-vision, but we did go there, and I took a camera. And as soon as you walked in, it smelled like a manure plant where they had sprayed air freshener.
Yes.
It was awful. You would not want to live anywhere near there.
We could always rely on nose blindness. You know what that is? Like if you've been in an area that stinks for a long period of time, you don't smell it anymore.
I know what they want. Yes. Dwight Ellis, who was the chair at the time, would have preferred to punched me in the nose, and then I couldn't smell anything. Solve two problems at once.
Right.